needless to say, if you provide what's called safe supply, which is the biggest misnomer in the history of policy, then what you have is a system that, because it misapplies something that can be very valuable for some patients to patients that can be really hurt by that, have to explain to our colleagues that don't know about severe mental illness that one thing that works for people with an opioid use disorder is harmful for someone with schizophrenia and polysubstance use disorder that uses in the context of a psychotic disorder. And so it is a very delicate thing because we are not against using harm reduction. On the contrary, we are for using harm reduction right, but thinking that you're reducing harm by, for example, doing things like decriminalization without incentive for treatment. In fact, if you do decriminalizations with incentives for rejecting treatment, then it's a catastrophe. And we lose a good opportunity of using decriminalization right. I remember when decriminalization was being rolled out here in BC, that they expected us to, as physicians in inpatient units, to not remove the substances from the patients we were admitting. We were being told, no, you can't, unless they give them to you, you can't take it from them, property, as if it was their hat of authority. Well, that's a very dangerous hat. It reminded me of the Dr. No hat, the one that, so, and it was unfortunate, being explained to us that we now needed to do this. And a colleague of mine asked, but sorry, in Portugal, decriminalization is accompanied by panels that strongly encourage, nudge, and even coerce people to accept treatment to avoid the penalties that come with some behavior. Why are we not doing that? And the person said, oh, no, we don't believe in that part of the policy. What does that mean? We don't believe in that part of the policy. Anyhow, so the problem is that the lack of knowledge about the specificities of the treatment of people with severe mental illness leads to this confusion and this terrible, terrible tragedy that we have here in BC. And so, being steadfast in our willingness to explain this, in our resolve to not drift back into things that failed, I think would be good. In Ontario, I'm not sure. So we all know things are happening here in BC, things are happening in Alberta, different things with important differences. But I think our approach is the most solid in terms of grounding what we're doing on a therapeutic approach to people with mental disorders, not specific things for this addiction or that addiction. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, that's what I would say about that.
Okay. I know Eva has a question. Marvin, could you ask one of Eva's questions, or maybe Eva?
That was one of mine. Thank you.
Okay.
I could go on, but maybe someone else wants to ask.
Okay.
It's a good question.
Okay, I would take one more question. Let's see. Shall I pick one from the chat, or do you want to pick one from the chat?
You pick one from the chat.
Okay, let's see. Oh, right. So how widespread is the knowledge and research that you're describing in the psychiatric profession at this time? A loved one is diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, struggles with addiction. Our experience is that he has never had consistency in care. I'm wondering how the information you're sharing here is able to reach psychiatrists across the province. I am very limited in the resources I have to disseminate things. So I do talks, I do grand rounds, I spend a lot of my time talking to colleagues. But as you point out, there's insufficient knowledge in our colleagues, even in psychiatrists, about what does this mean and how can they do things better. I receive calls and emails from families every day asking for help with a specific situation that I unfortunately cannot usually help with because I cannot resolve specific. But if you're stuck with someone who with a colleague or team or a situation that is really, so I sometimes I get called because a colleague recalled a patient to provide the medication, the depot antipsychotic and the depot buprenorphine, and some colleague somewhere in the ED says, no, I'm not going to provide the depot buprenorphine. I'm only going to provide the depot antipsychotic because it's this or that. They have no right to not comply with a treatment ordered by the director under the Mental Health Act, but they still do it. And so my colleagues have to go through all kinds of hoops. They have to show up themselves and give the injection themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to do all kinds of things to disseminate this. I'm going to, again, make an announcement this Monday that will hopefully reach a lot of people. I have prepared a type of decision algorithm that I rely on other sectors of government to make it public, and that's still happening. So I think that's one of the problems that makes my work less impactful, which is that it takes a very long time to manage change and change the culture of our teams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, thank you very, very much, Dr. Vigo. It's actually lovely to see you. Thank you for doing this. And we're going to put your video on our website so other people can see it and know of the good work that you're doing in BC. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks to you for the work and for the advocacy you do for your family members.
Everybody agree?
Yeah.